What are AI compute futures? In this video, I'm going to break it down for you. Are they the next speculative mania like crypto, or are they something more useful? So before we jump into what they are and what they're used for, basically compute is becoming more like oil and electricity, a commodity of sorts. It's becoming a key bottleneck in scaling AI and data centers and intelligence in the palm of our hand. It's pretty clear at this point that intelligence is going to be everywhere now. It's going to be in physical products, it's going to be in homes. It's obviously on our computers already, but it's doing some very, very incredible things. But because of the compute market, it's very, very difficult for frontier labs and apps and everybody scaling AI to build companies because the price fluctuates. And while AI pricing is going down rapidly and it will probably keep going down rapidly, it's still very difficult as a company to build with such a volatile, instrument or asset, as you will. So compute futures are basically a way to kind of hedge as a company and lock in price. So if you're building a company and you need stable pricing, and that's one of the biggest bottlenecks in enterprise right now. I'm building 2 enterprise software products right now, and the biggest bottleneck that I kind of run into is that it's hard to measure ROI with AI. And it's very difficult for companies to build plans around it because the token prices fluctuate or they could cost a lot of money. We've seen all these headlines where companies are allowing employees to use AI and they're racking up monstrous bills. And it's really hard to kind of forecast. I have a friend working at a big tech company at Monday, and the thing he's struggling with in selling AI services to these companies is they keep asking him, how much are these tokens going to cost? How much is it going to cost for me to build an app or a workflow? It's really hard to pin down. It's very dependent on the user of AI. So if you have this AI super user, he could run up 10x or 100x the bill of the next, 5 or 10 employees if he's like a really, really degenerate AI user of sorts. So compute futures allow companies to kind of hedge in and lock in the cost and the price of AI. And these markets are just starting to form. I think there's one on Kalshi. The CME is about to launch one. There's some other well-respected companies about to launch compute futures. And this is very interesting because as far as speculative mania, if you think that we've seen a lot of speculative mania at this point, if you introduce compute futures to this market, it's going to, all that other stuff is going to be kind of child's play because it's a very, very inefficient and underdeveloped market. And we have some, data center delays, we have data center moratoriums, we have AI backlash. So that is going to send the price kind of fluctuating. There's going to be a lot of volatility. And usually when there's a lot of volatility, there's an opportunity to make money. Hence why the CME is launching this and, speculators are probably licking their chops. So I'm going to read a few things and so we can kind of zero in on what compute futures are. Yeah, and it's a brand new market. I don't think there really is an active market right now where you can trade compute futures. I haven't looked at the Kalshi one really, so I'm not 100% sure, but I've been digging into it because I have a buddy who is looking to potentially launch a fund for compute futures. I can't really talk about anything beyond that, but I'm sure there could be some other guys out there or funds looking to form something as well. So one of the biggest changes happening in AI is that people are realizing that compute is becoming a commodity. It used to be oil, electricity, natural gas, wheat, and copper. Now we're entering a world where GPU compute may become another commodity that businesses buy, sell, hedge, and eventually trade. Compute is simply the ability to perform calculations. That's all that's really happening in all these AIs. And they happen inside of a GPU, right? So every time you use GPT, Claude, Gemini, someone is paying for GPU compute behind the scenes. Think of compute like electricity. You don't buy the power plant, you buy access to the electricity. So, why is this market forming? AI companies need enormous amounts of compute. Training frontier AI models can require tens of thousands of GPUs running for weeks or months. Inference, actually serving millions of users, requires even more ongoing compute. As AI demand explodes, compute becomes one of the most valuable inputs in the economy. Whenever something becomes valuable enough, markets naturally form around it. It's a history as old as time. I mean, there's markets for seashells. We don't really know that, but we can kind of maybe infer that with how humans interact with each other. They place value on things, and then they trade, and that becomes a market. It started in tribes, right? So it's an immature market, and there's no standard way to price compute, no benchmark index, no standardized contracts, no liquid marketplace, no easy way to hedge price risk. This all sounds a lot like early crypto to me, and any early market for that matter. I mean, the early SaaS market was probably the same thing. So imagine trying to trade oil before anyone agreed what a barrel was. That's basically where compute has been. So what is a compute future? I agree today on the price of GPU compute that will be delivered or financially settled sometime in the future. You're not buying a GPU, you're buying exposure to the future price of compute, just like oil futures aren't barrels sitting in your garage. So who would use AI compute? Who would participate in this market? We have AI companies who want predictable costs, like I mentioned at the start of the video. You have cloud providers and data centers. They own the supply. If they worry compute prices might fall, they can sell futures today to lock in revenue. Investors, they may believe compute prices will rise as AI demand grows. Instead of buying Nvidia stock, they can make a direct bet on compute prices themselves. So why does this matter? Why does this matter to you? Why should you care about compute futures? Every mature commodity market eventually develops financial markets around it, right? If compute becomes as important as many people believe, it makes sense that it eventually develops a futures market too. So why is this exciting? Because today the compute market is still early. It's fragmented, pricing isn't very transparent, liquidity is limited, standards are still emerging. Those are exactly the kind of conditions where new financial infrastructure gets built. So basically, if you're trying to build an AI or understand AI, then this is probably something you want to pay attention to. If you're just a speculator, it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. But as markets form around something, it kind of signals that an asset class is getting more mature and an industry is getting more mature. And we have AI that's still very early and it's rapidly growing, but it's something to kind of just make a note of and watch. I'm not advocating investing in it or trading compute futures. I just think it's a very, very interesting thing. So curious to hear what you guys think about compute futures.